Birdland Today, your daily dose of Orioles talk.
Hello, everyone. This is Josh Sroka, and welcome to another episode of Birdland Today. This is a show where we dive into everything Baltimore Orioles each and every day. Now, whether it's breaking news, players' analysis, fan perspectives, we've got you covered. And today we're taking a closer look at Ryan Mountcastle, one of the Orioles' most intriguing, let's go with intriguing players. We're going to break down, look at some of his stats, kind of explore how the changes at Oriole Park at Camden Yards impacted his home run totals, and kind of look ahead because they're adjusting the wall once again in 2025. So that's going to affect Ryan Mountcastle maybe more than any other player. Now, before we get started, if you're enjoying Birdland Today, please share the show with other Oriole fans. We're trying to build a community here, so your support makes all that difference. Rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It really helps us grow. And connect with me on Twitter at Josh Sroka. I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas for future episodes. Now, let's talk about Ryan Mountcastle. Mountcastle debuted in that shortened season of 2020, showcasing his hidden potential immediately. And in those 35 games, he hit .333 with a .386 on-base percentage and 5 home runs. That's a small sample size, but it did provide a glimpse of the power that he had and the ability to hit for average that makes him a top prospect in the Orioles farm system. It's hard to believe that it was just 2020 when he made his debut. His first full season the next year in 2021, Mountcastle hit 33 home runs and drove in 89 runs. He batted .255. He set the Orioles' rookie home run record, surpassing, do you know who it was? Cal Ripken Jr., who previously hit 28 home runs in his rookie year. His .487 slugging percentage was impressive, but he also had 161 strikeouts, which raised concerns about plate discipline and reminded us a lot of a previous Oriole, Chris Davis. Now, despite this, his rookie campaign solidified his status as a cornerstone for the Orioles' rebuilding effort. Now, here's what sucks for Ryan Mountcastle. In 2022, they decided to change Oriole Park at Camden Yards. The left field wall was moved back nearly 30 feet, and then they raised the height, transforming the park from a hitter-friendly haven to a more neutral venue. At least that was what the plan was. The adjustment clearly affected Mountcastle's power numbers. Mountcastle played in 145 games in 2022, hitting .250 with 22 home runs and 85 RBIs. Now, those are solid numbers, but it's a decline in the power and home run output compared to 2021. And if you look at StatCast, that revealed that he lost at least 5 home runs due to the deeper left field. His expected home run total was based on his exit velocity, and the launch angle was at 27, which showed clearly that wall affected Mountcastle and his numbers. Additionally, his slugging percentage dropped from .423 in 2022 to nearly 60 points lower. His fly ball percentage remained steady at 35%, but with those deeper dimensions over in left field, it turned several potential home runs into warning track outs. And it's worth noting, Camden Yards changes did not just affect Mountcastle. It also affected all the other right-handed power hitters, whether they were on the Orioles or not, which makes a whole different conversation about ballpark fairness. But it's what I love about baseball. Every ballpark is different. So in 2023, Mountcastle made some adjustments to his approach. He tried to focus on driving the ball to all fields rather than pulling everything to left field. He batted .260 with 26 home runs and 85 RBIs, a slight improvement overall. His on-base percentage also jumped up to .320, showing an improvement with that place discipline. Now, I hate that Mountcastle had to adjust because they changed the dimensions of the wall. I know that had to make Mountcastle bitter, that he has to change the way he plays the game because they decided we need to do something to attract pitchers to this park. So let's look at last year. By 2024, Mountcastle seemed to settle down in that consistent role as a middle-of-the-order hitter. He played 152. He hit 269. He got 28 home runs, 90 RBIs. Slugging percentage bounced back to a 471, much closer to his 2021 levels. But the deeper left field wall still played an factor. It still caused him to get those warning track outs. But his ability to adjust definitely paid dividends. And that's part of the issue, is the eye test with Mountcastle. The eye test says he's doing everything right. That wall hurts him. And I think that's why Ryan Mountcastle is a quick name to come up as a trade candidate, because everyone knows he would do better in a different stadium. Now, one of the key areas of his improvement last year was his performance against breaking balls. In 2022, he struggled against sliders and curveballs, hitting a 202 with those pitches. But by 2024, he improved to 243, showing that he could handle those secondary pitches much more effectively. And his strikeout rate, it dipped slightly, just slightly, indicating that he has a better approach at that two-strike mode. Now, a key highlight of Mountcastle's 2024 season was his performance in high-leverage situations. He batted .295 with runners in scoring position, driving in critical runs during the Orioles' push for a playoff spot. And this clutch factor made him even more valuable to this lineup. Now, we got to look at 2025 because the Orioles are moving the wall again. The Orioles announced that the left field wall will be adjusted again for the 2025 season, moving it slightly closer to home plate and lowering the height a little bit. This change is expected to then benefit right-hand power hitters like Mountcastle because he's been so affected. Now, if you look StatCast data from 2023 and 2024, as we spoke, said that Mountcastle lost between 4 and 6 home runs each year to the current left field dimensions. So as we look at 2025, let's kind of give him back those 4 to 6 home runs at home. That would be wonderful and really increase his stats and get him back to those 2021 numbers. We're going to turn those warning track fly balls into home runs and jump him back up into the mid-30s range. If we revisit his spray chart from the past few seasons, it's clear that his hardest hit balls to left field will clear the fence in 2025. And for a player with a career exit velocity of 91.3 and a max exit velocity of 112, these adjustments are going to make a significant difference for Ryan Mountcastle. That's kind of why when all the trade talk comes, I kind of want to hold off because I want to see him adjust with this new wall. They keep changing the wall. And as fans, we need to understand that it helps the pitcher, and it has been killing Ryan Mountcastle more than anyone. Now, we know Mountcastle primarily for his bat, but we got to look at his defense as well. His defense has showed steady improvements. Early in his career, there's questions about if he could handle first base. However, in 2024, he posted a .995 fielding percentage, and he definitely had some highlight reel plays. So he got lots of praise from his teammates and coaches. If we look at advanced metrics, such as outs above average, it shows that Mountcastle's range is a league average for a first baseman. But his scooping ability on errant throws has been a strength. Infielders like Gunnar Henderson, Jordan Westberg have credited Mountcastle for saving several errors over the course of the season. And as the Orioles continue to emphasize a strong defense across the diamond, Mountcastle's steady glove has become a vital component. In the clubhouse, Mountcastle's role in the clubhouse has grown as well. He's not the most vocal leader. Teammates describe him as approachable and hard worker. When you look at some younger players like Heston Kjerstad, Colton Cowser, they've mentioned Mountcastle several times as someone they look up to for guidance, especially when adjusting to the grind of 162 games and that dealing with the wall and how to adjust with that. Off the field, Mountcastle is clearly a fan favorite. He engages with fans during pregame activities. He's been involved in community outreach. He participates in charity events, Orioles' annual Birdland Caravan. His connection with the fan base further cements his place as one of the faces of the franchise. So let's back off on that trade talk. It seems way too easy to trade Ryan Mountcastle. Assuming that Mountcastle stays healthy and the new dimensions work out as expected, I think in 2025 we need to expect a 270 35 home runs, 95 RBI type season, I think that's a realistic projection. And these numbers will make him one of the top offensive first basemen in the American League and a critical part of this Orioles lineup so that we can make another push for postseason success. Beyond 2025, his long-term role with the Orioles, it's going to depend on his continued production and development and how things go within the organization. We still got prospects to come up. And if he maintains his current trajectory, if the wall adjustment kind of has a bounce back and gives him those extra 6 home runs a year, then there's no reason not to talk about Ryan Mountcastle and a contract extension securing his place here in Baltimore for years to come. Ryan Mountcastle's career has been a mix of promise, adjustments, and resilience. You very rarely have to adjust in the majors for field dimensions. I can't remember another time a player has had to do this. Maybe pitchers a little bit, trying to get the ball, but I don't remember a situation like this that we have with Ryan Mountcastle. And despite those challenges, he has remained a consistent run producer for the Orioles. And with the wall coming back in 2025, the stage is set for Mountcastle to have one of his best seasons yet. Whether it's his power at the plate, his solid defense, or leadership in the clubhouse, Mountcastle is a cornerstone for the Baltimore Orioles as we look to October baseball. Again, let's back off on that trade talk. It's way too easy to put Ryan Mountcastle's name out there for trades. Anyway, thanks for tuning in to Birdland Today. Don't forget to share the show with your fellow Oriole fans. Leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That really helps this grow, really helps me out. Connect with me on Twitter at Josh Sroka. I look forward to hearing from you. Let's keep the conversation going, and I'll see you Monday on Birdland Today.